Hello, 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 and welcome to Find You Fall in Love. If you were watching this on YouTube, you were getting to see my wild and crazy hair, and I really appreciate you being here. If you do not know about my YouTube channel, I will leave it in the description. If you don't know about my podcast, I'll leave that in the description, depending on where you're watching this or listening. I wanted to say hello. And we are going to talk today about imposter syndrome because I have had that kind of week and I had my first major panic attack in almost a year, a couple days ago. And I'm sure everything going on in the United States is part of the problem. And in addition to that, I've had some people who I've told what I'm doing now, and they requested my information, and that apparently was enough to send me into a panic attack on top of everything else. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, about the anxiety that comes sometimes from having a dream and a goal. And I was reminded the other day, and I think that's why I woke up yesterday feeling better a little bit. But I was reminded the other day, I was looking through Facebook. It was late at night. I was laying in bed. So my head was in a different kind of place. Like I wasn't really in it wasn't in that headspace where like anything mattered. Does that make sense? I was really relaxed. That's what I'm trying to say. I was really relaxed and I was very calm, and I'm laying there and I see this post and it says, "These are really, really cool." And it was somebody who somehow had never seen someone take a grain elevator type thing and make out of the corrugated steel kind, that you see in farms like in Illinois, and I'm from Illinois, so those things are everywhere. Anyway, someone took a couple of those and made a house out of them, and or like a guest room type thing. And I'm like, man, these things have been around for like over a decade. And so my reply to him was, "Oh yeah, these things have been around forever. You should Google them." And some people have done some really interesting things. In fact, this is what I did for my entrance exam type thing to design school. Is I took 3 of those, I connected them with like hallways, and I made a whole home out of these, and I was very intentional about how I did it, and it looks really amazing. In fact, I might still have it somewhere in our house. And um as I said all this, I got off and I was like, I got in. So let me tell you the story. I went down to Tennessee where the school was, and I interviewed, and she said, after I went through the whole thing, like I had boards, I had like the whole nine, and I know I do have the board somewhere. And I went through the whole thing of why I was putting windows where I was putting them. And, I really thought intentionally about this whole thing. And my goal when I was done with design school was to build these types of really unique homes out of strange things. Like before that, I had seen someone make a beautiful house out of a plane. And there is a show on Netflix where you can actually see the home I'm talking about, but this was like way before all of that. YouTube wasn't really a thing, and just happened to see it on something. And it was like architectural marvels, blah, blah, blah. And she had taken this old passenger airplane and made a whole house out of it. And it was really an engineering marvel because it's in California where they have a lot of earthquakes. And the home is designed in a way so that it will not get damaged in an earthquake. And I thought that was the most badass thing I'd ever heard of. And so that was kind of my inspiration for doing these weird things. I wanted to go around the world and learn all kinds of green technology and bring that back to the US because other countries were doing these really cool things, and bring all of these styles and things back here. And so I had this whole plan in my head, which obviously didn't go well because I get to school and the guy says, well, you have to have a license for everywhere you want to be in a lot of places that you might want to design. And I thought to myself, are you kidding me? Like, and I knew from having gotten realtors licenses that that process was not short nor cheap. And so it was a whole thing. And then on top of that, a couple months later, the company I was getting my loan from said, yeah, we're not going to fund your second semester. So I had physically moved myself. I had quit a really good, stable job that I absolutely loathed, but had good health insurance. And I had done all of these things on the basis that this company was going to be able to fund me and had already approved me for the whole damn year. And then that didn't, then halfway through they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So I have a whole thing with Sally Mae. Don't get me going. You can research back in an earlier podcast here all about that. But so here I am, I'm sitting back to the actual meeting. I'm sitting there, I'm going through this, and I can see this woman's eyes getting bigger and lighting up more and more and more. And normally these conversations happen with the dean, who I still know and talk with occasionally, at that school. And he had to go out of town for something. And so they were still running the meetings, but they were doing them a little differently. And she said, he will not be back for a couple of days. So, and normally these take about a week. So don't be flustered if you don't hear from us. But I can safely say that you are a really, really good candidate. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that you are here in the fall. And I said, oh my God, okay. But again, until I heard the word, that was not a thing. But I knew I had nailed it, right? I went in there really nervous, but really kind of confident because I had done all the labor ahead of time, right? I really knew what I was talking about. I used to spend hours and days designing rooms and designing things in my head. I understood what was happening. And I had been wanting to go to design school for a decade. So, not quite a decade, but close, like 5 or 6 years at this point. Actually, wait, 2004. 2004-ish, and I finally went in 2011. So what is that? 11 minus 4 is 7. 7 years, almost a decade. So I leave the office and I leave this beautiful campus set in this really beautiful town that I love, Franklin, Tennessee, which I love, and still would love to move back there. And I just go about my day thinking, okay, well, I'll know within a week. She calls me about an hour later And she said, I managed to get a hold of this person, and I would like to welcome you to Omar. And I screamed into her ears, like, no way. Like, no way. And she's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And in my head, I got to thinking about this last night, and I had thought long and hard about this. And this was my dream at the time. And I realize now I mourned the loss of that dream for about 7 years, genuinely. And at the time, while I was there and things were progressing, and I was meeting people who were in digital design and who were in web design and things like that. But again, the internet wasn't, even in 2011, the internet wasn't what it is now. And it wasn't, I couldn't foresee it being what it has turned into. And, but even then, I was interested in what they were doing. And at that time, my brother was either going or had graduated. Yeah, he had graduated um, as a graphic designer. So, like, this is clearly in my blood, right? And I thought about this the other night, and I'm like, I can do hard things, right? I can really genuinely do hard things. And not only can I do hard things, but I deserve to accomplish things. I deserve to feel good about what I can do and feel good about myself. And I've just really struggled because I felt very much like an imposter, even though I have designed websites that look really good. I have designed thing landing pages for people that were gorgeous, and I just was feeling like, who the hell am I? And I've started doing some classwork to further my education into design and all of the things. And I realized that as I was going through these classes with the builder that I use for um, designing websites, I don't necessarily need the classes that I'm taking. I don't need them, but I have been making a lot of excuses for not getting out and into the world and getting my stuff into the world. I have been using that as a crutch, thinking, oh, well, I need more of this education before I can promote myself. Oh, I need more of this education. What if I step on someone's toes? What if so and so thinks I'm copying her work? What if this and what if that and what if the other? And I just really need to stop. I have my own ideas, and they are a accumulation of a bajillion things that I have learned over the course of the last 10 years. They are a conglomeration of all of the things that I have spent years teaching myself about web design, about branding, about logos, about everything, business as a whole. And I was reminded again the other day. I got on a call to help a friend of mine who was really struggling with something in her business. And I got in there and I said, well, why don't you do this, 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 and this? And I just laid it out for her. And she's like, oh my God. I was just so overwhelmed I couldn't even see that. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. And this is how you're going to do it. And then there's this options and these options and that option. Just like, wow, okay, charge me for my time. For the time that, we were talking. And I was like, really? I was just going to do this for free. She's like, no, I'm paying you. It's fine. And I just keep running into instances where people want to pay me for my advice. And I love that. And that makes me feel really, really good. And I really love building websites. I really do. The idea of charging people a good amount of money for it, though, makes me really anxious. And it has nothing to do with the price, yes, it does. I have worked so long as an hourly person, not an employee, but at an hourly rate, that it makes me really nervous having a package that somebody would pay me for. It makes me really nervous to think that someone would pay me $2,500 for something, or God forbid, $8,000 for a lot of some things. And I've sat and I've thought about this pricing quite a bit, and I'm like, okay, if I want to be competitive in the market, this is the market rate, right? And I've seen things that were lower, I've seen things that were higher, and that this is the market rate. Okay, I can do this. I really, really can. And this is not about my work. This is not about my this is not about anything else. This is literally just inside my head and my heart. And this is all about mindset and who the hell am I to charge this amount of money? And the answer is, my name is Amber, and this is how much I'm going to charge people. This is how much other people are willing to pay for this thing. And that's okay. I can do hard things. I can do hard things well, and I already know how to do the hard things well. I am choosing to have more education, but I do not need it. I am choosing to get more education so that I can branch out and stop using Divi if I don't want to use it anymore. And this is so that I can build layouts. I can build themes for websites and code them myself and then sell them. That is the goal. And I can do hard things. And I can do hard things well. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting paid well. Because I sure have not been happy about not getting paid well to do this work when I know that other people are being paid well for the same work, if not crappier. That's it, right? And so that's what I've been dealing with. How have you been? So here's your tidbit for the day, or your task, your homework, your question, your all of it. Got a frog in my throat. I'm so sorry. What hard things can you do? And What hard things can you do that you have been putting off for bullshit reasons? What hard things can you do that you've been putting off for bullshit reasons? You tell me. So, as you probably have guessed after listening to this podcast, that I was considering creating a whole new podcast just for business stuff because I wanted to talk about business stuff a lot. And I have a ton of things to say about business. And we have talked about this before. So this should not come as a surprise. We are going to be adding a tagline. And we are not at this stage changing the name of the podcast. Not I say we. I am not changing the name of the podcast, but I'm going to start having some guest interviews at times. And we're going to continue to have discussions like we've had today, where it's a lot of mindset stuff, but as it relates to business, as I've kind of always done things. Because I genuinely believe that when you find yourself and you fall in love with who that person is, especially as an entrepreneur, there's so many things out there telling you that you suck. And there's so many things out there to tell you that you're crap and you don't know what you're doing. So we're not going to change the name because I genuinely believe that you need to fall in love with who you are in order as a big part of success as an entrepreneur. I'm going to take a drink of water and try to get rid of that frog. A big chunk of who you are as an entrepreneur is wrapped up in your mindset. So I believe that when you find who you truly are, you will find your path, whether that be as an employee or an entrepreneur. And I feel like I have a particularly unique insight as an entrepreneur myself into that world. And so that's what we're going to kind of talk about. And I'm still going to relate it to everyday experiences, although there will be some that will genuinely be straight business podcasts or straight up talking about websites and design and all those things. Or it could be talking about management as a business owner. However, I truly believe that management conversations that relate to business can also be applied to your home life. And if more businesses were run the way people run their homes, a lot more would get done. But that's just a whole nother conversation. If the government was run by a mom with a budget, guess what would happen? Whole bunch of shit wouldn't be happening, I'll tell you that much. That sucker would be balanced and it would be amazing. I hope you guys have an amazing day and I hope you stick around. I realize that I have a growing audience here and I want to honor that and I want to love on you, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And at this point in time, I am just really grateful. And I realized that starting a whole new podcast when likely a good percentage of you are entrepreneurs in the first place really seemed kind of stupid. So that's what we're doing right now. If you are looking for a book that will help you figure out your branding for your small business or medium-sized business even, I have a book that I have just written and put out there. It is called Branding Made Simple. I also have another book called The Essentials, and that deals with the systems and tools you need as a service-based business. Kind of walks you through how to set all that stuff up, and what things I think are absolutely essential for your business and what things you could probably leave behind, as well as a lot on budgeting, because I think that that's really important. Both of these books will be available as of the date this airs on my website, so www.amberslocum.com, and they will be available for a PDF download. If you are interested in that, just go to my website and click on the shop icon, and you can pick those up, and then load them onto your Kindle or read them on your computer, however you want to do that. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day, and I'll talk to you all later. Oh, the price of this. The Branding Made Simple book comes with the book itself, which is 24 pages. Yes, which includes a checklist for branding so that you can make sure that you've got everything squared away. That book is $17 and comes with a free Canva template for a brand board, and kind of walks you through how to use that. The Essentials book is $19.99. It is 65-ish pages. Don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I've looked to the end of it. And also comes with a checklist that will help you organize your bank accounts that you're using for your business, as well as your softwares and username, password. All that stuff can be put onto that checklist, and that one is $19.99. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me via my website. There's a contact me page, and I'll leave a link in the description below. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to y'all later. See ya. Bye.